What's up, everybody? Noah Kaser back here for another episode of Noah Kaser Live. Let's get right into it. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, give you a review for that, talk about the box office records it's been breaking. We also have a review for the brand new Freddie Prinze Jr. Quiver distribution drama thriller, The Girl in the Pool. Also, we're going to go into the exciting topic of Jimmy Kimmel and John Mulaney turned down the Oscars hosting offer. Who should host the Oscars now that they have turned it down? Speaking about more Oscars, we're going to go into, is Amy Adams going to be an Oscar winner this year? Let's go into, I think that's very possible, and why it has a past history. The Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. are getting big paydays for their Marvel return. We're going to have a brand new segment added onto the channel called Release Rewind, the box office results, Netflix top 10, releasing this week in theaters, and a lot more. So let's get right into it with our first topic, which is going to be Deadpool and Wolverine. So Deadpool and Wolverine is, of course, the brand new film in the Deadpool series, and we're going to get right into this. So I just saw this on Thursday, and I really enjoyed it. A listless Wade Wilson toils away in civilian life with his days as the morally flexible mercenary Deadpool behind him. But when his home world faces an existential threat, Wade must reluctantly suit up again with an even more reluctant Wolverine. So they go into the multiverse, they bring in other past Fox X-Men and past characters. So this is a phenomenal movie. I loved this movie. It is by far one of my favorite theater experiences I've ever had. I'm not going to go into spoilers because I do have a spoiler discussion coming up around 8 o'clock, depending on when the show ends. I'm going to jump right into that one. So this is going to be very exciting. This movie is phenomenal. Not without its issues, though. I do have a couple issues, but we'll get into those in just a minute. Deadpool and Wolverine is one of the best films I have seen this year, mostly because of the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. We also have a ton of great cameos that serve the plot. They aren't just, well, most of them serve the plot, except for one. But Deadpool and Wolverine do have a couple big issues here. One, the movie can be a bit slow once we get to the third act. The third act does lag a little bit, particularly once we get to the Deadpool variants. I didn't really enjoy that scene a whole lot because it started to slow the movie down. I thought we could have gotten a lot more build up with some of those past Deadpool variants. And a couple of the jokes did go on a little bit too long, particularly in the last act. Once we get to a like a prayer scene at the very, very end of the climax, before we get to the end of the movie, that particular scene where Deadpool is just is Wolverine, sure, where Deadpool is waving at the Wolverine through a window in a door. I thought that went on for a little bit too long and it overstayed its welcome. A couple scenes do that, but besides that, I loved this movie. The chemistry is great. The story serves its purpose. The cameos serve a purpose. They aren't just there for 15, 20 seconds to 3 minutes. They're actually in it for a good 5, 10, 15 minutes, except for one that is just in there because it's in there for a laugh. That one, it's pretty much the second big cameo you get is that one. It's pretty much that one that he's sort of just thrown in there because, you know, he's a big star. I'm not going to go into spoilers. We will go into spoilers at the very end, in the spoiler discussion. But I loved this movie. I really loved Deadpool and Wolverine, one of my favorite movies of the entire year. Yes, I did have to buy a shirt. I do love this. And no, the Marvel Jesus joke did not bother me. It is not that big a deal. It's comedy. It's comedy. If you go into a Deadpool movie, you should know you're going to get offended. You should know that the Marvel Jesus joke was in it. Was it a morally right joke? No. But you know what? It's Deadpool. He's not a morally correct character. He knows what he's doing. He knows 100% what he's doing. Ryan Reynolds knows marketing. He knows comedy. He knows he has to push the boundaries. He knows he's going to push people's buttons. It's harkening back to something like Family Guy. They are trying to offend people. Not with their own beliefs, but because it's comedy, you have to go in there with a little bit of an open mind. Deadpool and Wolverine is one of the best movies of the entire year, and I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. On my grading scale, that's going to be about an A-. If it would have been tightened up a little bit, more voice cameos with the Deadpool variants and a couple of the jokes being cut down just a little bit for time's sake, that would have been great. But besides that, I love this movie, and I cannot wait to go into more Deadpool cameos in other films, because I do think this is his last Deadpool movie. Unless this makes 1.5 billion, then I think Marvel and Kevin Feige are going to go, hey, we want to do a fourth one. So there's my thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And what do you think of Deadpool and Wolverine? So let's go into the comments before we go into the next review. And we're going to go into this. Hey, Sav, welcome in. Yes, it is a very fantastic movie. I do love it. I cannot wait to see it 2 or 3 more times in theaters. It is one of my favorite movies of the year. Yes, it is also one of my favorite movies of the entire year. Sav would also give it a 4.5 star out of 5. Awesome. So, we're going to go into the next movie. And that next movie is going to be The Girl in the Pool. Now, The Girl in the Pool is a brand new drama thriller starring Freddie Prinze Jr. from Quiver Distribution. I was very interested in this because I saw... The reason I found out that this was even coming out is because of Spooky Astronauts. She does a video about the first or second day of every single month saying what new horror/thriller movies and series are coming out on VOD, in theaters, and on streaming. So, The Girl in the Pool is all about a well-to-do family man played by Freddie Prinze Jr. must get through a surprise birthday party thrown by his wife shortly after he has hidden the corpse of his murdered mistress. This movie is one that I was I was not very hyped up for this film. I was excited for it mostly because it's Freddie Prinze Jr. He's Freddie Prinze Jr. I just watched Scooby-Doo. I really love Down to You. That rom-com is one of the greatest rom-coms of all time. The chemistry between him and Julia Stiles is great. This movie, however, is not all that good. It is not all that good. Freddie Prinze Jr. plays a guy named Thomas. And him and his wife are not getting along at the moment. They might be heading towards a divorce. And his daughter is hiding a secret from him, but she's told her mom. And now they got to figure out what happened to his mistress. Why was she killed? Who killed her? And now we have a little bit of someone from her family coming and looking for her as well. This movie is not all that well written. I gotta say that. This movie is not all that well written. You could have done more with this. You could have done more with building the tension. And I didn't really care for the ending. I didn't care for the ending at all because the ending, they didn't build anything. You should have written more onto this film. Write a better script, build more onto the actual story at the very end. Let the family find out like they do. But have them come up with a plan instead of doing what you do here. I'm not going to spoil anything, but this movie was a big disappointment. Freddie Prinze Jr. is overacting at some points. He's a good actor. I really enjoy him. This movie did nobody any favors. The chemistry between him and his mistress is there. They build a little bit of romantic tension and a little bit of romantic chemistry there, but that's not saying much for me. I wanted more. I wanted more from The Girl in the Pool. The Girl in the Pool is one of the laziest thrillers I have seen in a long time. The movie starts out promising. However, they don't do a good job building the story, writing this script to get you invested in this. We didn't know this girl all that well. We didn't know him all that well. Why do we care about them? Give us a reason to care about them, and I'll care about your movie more. I wanted more from The Girl in the Pool. It should have been more. I should have gotten more, but the screenwriters just didn't care enough. I wanted more. Freddie Prinze Jr. did a good job. It's well shot. I like the score in the film. It did have a higher budget for a Lifetime-y style film, and I've seen this type of story done multiple times and with better writing in a Lifetime TV movie. The Girl in the Pool is a mediocre little film that I'm going to end up giving 2.5 out of 5 stars. Freddie Prinze Jr., the cinematography, and the score do give it enough to get it to that 2.5, but not one I recommend to you. It is available on VOD if you're interested. I did pay the money to see it, but that's about it, guys. I'll talk about that more later this week when I do my July movies ranked video and where it ranks there. But The Girl in the Pool was a big disappointment. Let me know what you thought of The Girl in the Pool if you watched it down below. Are you interested in seeing it? Does my review make you want to see it? Maybe this movie is for you. And if that's for you, that's amazing. I love that for you as a movie fan. I want all movies to be great. I want all movie fans to watch a good movie. And if this movie hits you in the right way, that's awesome. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So, we're going to go into the comments before we go into the main topics. Hey, Joe. Welcome in. It's great to see you. It was a great time streaming with you last night. Can't wait to do it more often. Sav says, I've seen the trailer for The Girl in the Pool. What did you think about it, Sav? I was really interested in this. It did look interesting. It looked like this movie could have had promise. It could have had a lot of promise. It just did not work. It just didn't work for what they did with the screenplay overall. So, this movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, that we just got done talking about a couple minutes ago, Deadpool and Wolverine has broken multiple box office records. This movie has not only broken one record, but it has earned all the monies. It has earned all the monies. So let's take a look at this. We're going to take a look at this one comes from Deadline. Deadpool and Wolverine, all the box office records broken. Behold, the box office feats of Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine this past weekend. Highest R-rated opening of all time, both worldwide and domestic, at $444.1 million worldwide and $211 million domestic. Deadpool and Wolverine beats previous record holder Deadpool from 2016 at $264 million worldwide in like-for-like markets, excluding China, which did $132.4 million domestically. Biggest global opening since Avatar. Worldwide, it's beat it by $5 million. Biggest opening for Ryan Reynolds? Yes, it beat out Deadpool. Biggest opening for Hugh Jackman, beating out X-Men. Wow, at $102.7 million for X-Men The Last Stand. Biggest opening for Sean Levy, 2009's Ninth Museum Battle of the Smithsonian at $54.1 million. Highest opening of an highest July opening weekend of all time at domestic box office, surpassing The Lion King. I'm guessing that's 2019. At $191.8 million. Passing through that ad, we'll go through Marvel Cinematic Universe is the highest grossing film franchise of all time with $30 billion, spanning 34 titles. The 34th consecutive MCU release to debut at number one at the domestic box office. Highest domestic opening of 2024 and highest since Spider-Man No Way Home in December of 2021 at $261 million. Number 6 highest domestic opening weekend of all time. Sixth highest opening weekend at the domestic office. Okay, so this was opening day. Opening day, July 26th, $96 million. Number 4 highest superhero opening of all time, behind Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Avengers Infinity War. We're not done, folks. Number 2 highest opening weekend for a third installment of all time, behind Avengers Endgame. Third? Because to me, the fourth that's the fourth installment. As of this post, Walt Disney is responsible for 16 of the top 20 domestic openings of all time, with the MCU responsible for 11 of those of the top 20. Disney also owns 5 of the top 6 opening weekends of all time at the domestic box office. Highest opening weekend ever for an R-rated film with $233.1 million internationally, surpassing Joker at $147 million on a like-for-like basis at current rates. Highest opening weekend abroad since Avatar: The Way of Water, surpassing the biggest film of the entire year. Thus far, this film could beat it, with Inside Out 2 earning $223 million on a like-for-like basis at current rates. And finally, to date, this year, Walt Disney Pictures has released the number one title of May, June, and July. So that's everything. It's beaten all those records. All of those records. Not to mention this. Taking a look at this, this one comes from Box Office Mojo. And Box Office Mojo is not usually what I use. I usually end up using the numbers. But as of right now, it has crossed $500 million at the worldwide box office in under 5 days. In under 5 days. Now this is behind. $496.3 million worldwide. This will hit $1 billion within 2 weeks. This weekend, it'll probably take a 50% drop. It'll definitely take a 50% drop because everybody who wants to go and see it will go and see it on opening weekend. No doubt in my mind. However, what we do have here, is something that is blowing everything out of the water. Deadpool and Wolverine is making more money than I was thinking it would opening weekend. Surpassing $500 million opening week. Opening week, folks. That's big news for this. The MCU, I'm not going to say it's back. It's Deadpool and Wolverine. We know what we're getting with this type of a box office. This is great, though. This is great. It saves the box office. We're going to see it happen more. However, this month coming up, we just looked at it last week. There's nothing coming out that's going to do big numbers at the box office in July, in August. Nothing's going to make big money at the box office in August. Nothing. Nothing is going to reach $100 million at the box office opening weekend. Mark my words, not one thing. Not one. I think the highest opening is probably going to be 50, maybe 60, $70 million is pushing it. We're not going to get this. We're not going to get this until, I'm going to say, at least Moana 2. Moana 2, Wicked, get into the Gladiator and Wicked Barbenheimer effect, see if that does it. But this is what you do. This is what the box office is all about. This is why movies are big hits, because you need to build on nostalgia. Yes, we knew we were going to get some X-Men and Fox cameos. We do get those. But you also bring back characters. Here's the thing. Deadpool did make a lot of money. Deadpool 2 did make a lot of money. They weren't billion-dollar films. This movie is already doubling what the first and second did in its worldwide theatrical runs. Deadpool, the first Deadpool, made a grand total of, what was it? Let me pull this up here. Deadpool made a grand total of $781 million at the worldwide box office. Once the word of mouth got out, it was Ryan Reynolds. That's when Ryan Reynolds became huge. $781 million. This movie is at just shy of $500 million already. That's going to be gone. I think that surpasses that this weekend. Let's take a look back here. And we will take a look at Deadpool 2. Because Deadpool 2 is also down here. Show you all the Deadpool movies. This is huge. If it will let me show you. It's not going to let me show you right now. But this is big news. There we go. Deadpool 2 made $786.3 million. So it's going to surpass that this weekend, I think. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind that this is going to pass it. But look at that number. Again, $496 million. $496. Inside Out 2 might have some competition. Does this have the repeat value? I think so, yes. I think so. Because you're going to want to show your fans. You're going to want to show your friends. You're going to want to go and see this again. because you don't get movies like this. Experiential events with big audiences packed in the theaters. We got that with Twisters. We got that with Inside Out 2. But we haven't got that in a while. Barbie? Yes, we got that with Barbie. A lot of women, a lot of boyfriends and girlfriends, a lot of mothers and daughters, mothers, grandmas and granddaughters. Everybody went to that movie. Everybody went to Barbie. This is different. This is you're saying goodbye. You are saying goodbye to the Fox movies. You're saying goodbye to that universe. You're bringing Deadpool and Wolverine into the MCU. Not that they're going to be massive roles in the future. I think they might show up in a movie here and there because Deadpool, well, with what Ryan Reynolds said, he doesn't think he's going to do a fourth one because it may pull back on his marriage a little bit. He's very devoted to his family. Him and Blake may have talked, but I don't know. Since this is heading towards $1 billion and climbing towards probably the fastest climb to $1 billion an R-rated film has ever done and probably will ever do, is massive. But what do you think about Deadpool and Wolverine breaking all these records, cracking $500 million at the worldwide box office within the first week? Within the first, let's see, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. So you might as well say 5 days. You might as well say 5 full days of being opened. $500 million, which is going to equal to about $100 million a day thus far. But what do you think about that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And we can have a talk about that, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So we're going to go into the comments again before we go into our next topic. Sav says, I will see it, but I'm not in a rush to watch The Girl in the Pool. If you need something to watch, go for it. But there's a lot of other things that I would highly recommend before it. Deadpool and Wolverine will continue to break records. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. We have Sav saying hello to Crazy Joe. Welcome in, Crazy Joe. It's awesome to see you. Deadpool and Wolverine is how to make a Marvel movie. I don't think it's how to make a Marvel movie. I think it's how to bring in the crowds, but also it's not a perfect movie either. Barely any of the Marvel movies are perfect. I think it's just them going back to form. Because the Marvel movies were all about action, fun, humor, while also having heart. Very few Marvel films have had heart recently. Very few. I mean, Black Panther 2 had heart. Guardians 3 had heart. Spider-Man No Way Home had heart. This had heart. But I like the movie. It's not one of my favorite MCU movies. That still will not be Infinity War, Endgame, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man No Way Home, any of the Guardians movies. I might even like the Marvels more than Deadpool and Wolverine. In all honesty, hot take, I know, but I really love this. But that's that. Okay, I really like that. But let's go into the comments one more time. Crazy Joe says, I enjoyed the movie, but I don't think it's one of the better Marvel movies. I don't think it is either. I think it's one of their better ones in a good while. And I can definitely see it's great. It's not perfect, but it's very good, says Sav. Yes. Yep. I actually prefer the Marvel. I'm with you, Joe. I'm with you. I prefer the Marvels. It's a shorter movie, and it's a nice, concise 90-minute runtime that gave me a story I liked, but this pleased the fan in me more than the critic in both the Marvels and in Deadpool and Wolverine. So there's that. Now we're going to move on to the next topic, and the next topic is a big one. This is a big topic. I love the Oscars. It is one of my favorite days of the entire year. The entire year. So this is coming from The Hollywood Reporter. The Hollywood Reporter and multiple other sources are reporting that we don't have an Oscar host yet. Jimmy Kimmel and John Mulaney turned down the Oscars offer to be the host. So let's go into this, because there's a lot to unpack here to me. And then we're going to go in, and then after this, we're going to go into another topic that I came up with, is who is going to be the Oscar host, who I think would be a good Oscar host. So Jimmy Kimmel and John Mulaney both pass on hosting Oscars ceremonies. ABC and the Academy are now back to the drawing board as they search for a host for the 2025 Academy Awards. ABC is said to have made offers to Jimmy Kimmel and John Mulaney, both of whom passed on the opportunity, as first reported by Puck News. Fortunately for the Academy and its host network, there's still plenty of time, with the Oscars not slated to air until Sunday, March 2nd. So, this is coming from them. The first outreach had gone to Kimmel. It's late night host who's already emceed the Academy Awards 4 times, including the past 2 years. Ironically, his statement upon accepting the offer in the 2023 read, in 2023 read, "I've already dreamed of hosting the Oscars exactly 4 times." Nevertheless, he was the obvious choice, in large part because his large foray was widely praised, and because he's already part of the Disney family. But Kimmel's ultimately said no, as he reportedly did hosting this year's Emmy Awards, which will also be carried on ABC. This decision may come as a surprise to those who know Kimmel, but ultimately say yes to more major gigs in the name of being a good partner. So, Mulaney, arguably a sexier, if riskier bet, came next. His name has been bandied about as a potential host ever since he won the Oscar crowd over at the Governor's Awards earlier this year. In fact, many saw that the non-televised gig as an audition of sorts, which Mulaney clearly passed. The year prior, Mulaney had been asked by The Hollywood Reporter if he would ever consider hosting the Oscars. "Sure, why not?" he replied. "It would be really fun. It's hosting the Academy Awards. Johnny Carson did it." And while the comic addressed the possibility more recently in The Hollywood Reporter, in telling the Hollywood Reporter in June that he wouldn't necessarily say no in the end, he did decide to pass for this year. Don't bother asking about the year after, since he insists he doesn't plan for more than 3 months in advance. So, this is major news because Jimmy Kimmel was an obvious choice. He was the obvious choice to host the Oscars. But I think it's nice because we did have multiple people do it year after year after year with the Golden Globes. We had a Tina Fey and Amy Poehler just dynamic going. A complete dynamic just going. And that got tired very, very, very quickly. What you don't do with the Oscar host is you don't do what you did a couple of years ago and having 3 hosts. That does it. That just blew everything out of the water. It was a overwritten, unfunny show that went too long. But I get why Jimmy Kimmel doesn't want to do it, and John Mulaney might have too much going on with his stand-up career. He might have some acting roles around that time that he doesn't want to pull away from. He might have some TV spots he doesn't want to pull away from. John Mulaney is a touring comic, and Jimmy Kimmel does want to retire. I think it was said that after this contract for his show, he's going to retire and pass it on to somebody else. Maybe John Mulaney takes over for Jimmy Kimmel. Maybe. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about that. And I just think it's a very interesting topic. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Leading into our next topic, which is going to be, who should host the Oscars? Who should host the Oscars? That's a very good question. I have some recommendations, and we are going to go into a few of those. So let's take a look at who should host the Oscars. There's 4 or 5 options, and I think the first obvious option is John Cena. I think John Cena is a good pick, mostly because Jimmy Kimmel knows him. Jimmy Kimmel can pass that on. John Cena is a obvious pick because he stole the Academy Awards last year. He stole the Academy Awards with this joke. With that joke right there, he stole the Oscars. He blew it up. He went out there almost completely naked. And I personally think that he's a good choice. He has the charisma. He has the comedic timing. He knows how to own a room. He knows how to run the room. He knows how to command your attention. He's a wrestler. He works the crowd for a living, or he worked the crowd for a living. Now he hosted the ESPYs. He did a good job with that, so he has some hosting experience. I think that's a very good option right there. Next up, I think, is another good choice is The Rock. The Rock is a good choice. I like The Rock. I like him as an option. I want more of The Rock anyways. But here's the issue. He had a bad name. He kind of has a little bit of mud on his name right now with those reports that he was hard to deal with, that he was very hard to work with. He showed up late on set. He was rude. He was unprepared. But I think The Rock is a good choice. I really think so. Another option I think is pretty obvious. We've seen him host before. Not Jimmy Kimmel, but Jimmy Fallon. He did the Golden Globes. And I think he did a very good job with that. He has a lot of celebrity fans and friends. He's done hosting before. He's a good host. He has good comedic timing, knows the stars. He can joke with them. He has the most fun with them on his shows, doing all those games and just laughing at everything. He's a great host, great charisma. I think he's an obvious choice. But there are three more possibilities that I think are phenomenal choices, and one of them is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman is no stranger to the Oscars, and Ryan Reynolds is no stranger to the Oscars, but I think that with Deadpool and Wolverine, this might be a good choice. You have some good song and dance talent with Hugh Jackman, and Ryan Reynolds knows the comedic beats. He has good comedic timing. The chemistry between these two is great. You can even do a callback to when Hugh Jackman and Anne Hathaway did their phenomenal opening number at the Oscars. I think that was great. I think that these two are great choices, perfect choices. But the most obvious choice that everybody wants right now is going to be Billy Crystal. I think Billy Crystal is a pretty safe choice. He is a legend in the business. I think he said he doesn't want to do it anymore, but if you offer him enough money, if you're desperate for a host, I think he's a very good choice before he fully retires from doing anything. He hasn't been doing all that much acting. I did enjoy his one film, though, with Tiffany Haddish that he did in 2020 called Here Today. Very, very good film. A heartfelt and very dramatic but funny film as well. I think that Billy Crystal is a very good option for this. But I think nobody would complain either. I don't think anybody would complain about these guys hosting it either. And I think that is going to be Steve Martin and Martin Short. I think they are the safest picks. One, because they're no stranger to the Academy. They're no stranger to any of the people in that room. They all know them. You can even do a Selena Gomez cameo, unless Selena Gomez is nominated, which is a possibility. She does have an Oscar-worthy film coming out, from what I've heard. But I think that Martin Short and Steve Martin are very good choices to potentially be some Oscar hosts. So let's go through these one more time. We're going to go with my personal favorite choice because I think it makes the most sense. John Cena. You could even have Jimmy Kimmel come back on to welcome him on and maybe do a bit of a joke then and harken back to it. The Rock is a good choice. I like The Rock. Very charismatic guy. Love The Rock to death. I think he has the comedic chops to do it. He knows everybody. Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon is a very popular choice, one that nobody's talking about. I think that's a very smart idea. He does have some prior Oscar-like hosting experience with the Golden Globes. Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, very smart choice because everybody loves them. They have the biggest movie in the world right now. Hugh Jackman has prior hosting experience. He's no stranger to Academy Award nominations, and I guarantee you him and potentially Ryan Reynolds will get some more Oscar love. But I think that the two that nobody would have an issue with, that nobody can find hardly any dirt on, Billy Crystal. Billy Crystal is phenomenal. He's in one of my favorite films of all time, the greatest rom-com of all time in When Harry Met Sally. I love that movie. And then finally, Steve Martin and Martin Short, with potentially a cameo from Selena Gomez. I think that's a very, very good choice. But what do you think? What do you think of that down below? Who do you want to see the Oscars? Is there somebody I'm not thinking of? Is there somebody that is just leaving my mind that I cannot think of right now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think of my picks? And who do you want to see host the Oscars? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. So we're going to go into the comments one more time before we go into it. Crazy Joe says, my favorite post-Endgame Marvel movie is still Thor. Wow, Thor Love and Thunder. I think that is a great choice. I love that you love that movie. I have a love-hate relationship with that movie because Disney Movie Club kind of screwed me on that because they didn't follow my email instructions and didn't take my decline for the 4K that I spent $40 on. Not that I'm bitter. Anyways, with Crazy Joe also says, you can't go wrong with Conan O'Brien. I don't think, see, with Conan O'Brien, I think that's a very good, I think that's a very good pick. Kermit the Frog, see? Kermit the Frog, or just give the whole Muppets. The whole Muppets could do it. The Muppets could do a great job hosting the Oscars. Everybody loves the Muppets. You can't find dirt on the Muppets. They're Muppets. I love Kermit. I love Miss Piggy. Give me Sam Eagle up there giving the award for best visual effects or best production design. I would love that. I would love that. You know who would be fantastic? Alan Tudyk. Okay, cool. I think Sav has it. Joe and Noah should host it. We should. We should write a letter to the Academy. Everybody watching this should write a letter to the Academy saying, hey, Noah Kaser and Crazy Joe should host the Oscars. I think they have the great comedic timing. I think they have great flow, good chemistry together on screen. I think that'd be a great thing for them for them to do, is to hire me, or heck, I would be honored just to sit up in the nosebleed seating and watching it down, just looking down at the Oscar stage. It is one of my favorite. It is one of my favorite days of the entire year. I love the Academy. They know what they're doing about 95% of the time, except for that Best Popular Movie Oscar was really stupid. That's the only bad thing I'm going to say about the Oscars for right now. But there's that. And we're going to go into this. So, do we know our Best Actress winner already this early in the year? Amy Adams is going to win the Academy Award this year. Is she going to become an Oscar winner this year? She does have prior Academy Award nominations. But why do I say this? Why do I say this? Well, it's very interesting. Because when you look at this here, this is coming from the TIFF website. They announced their lineup for the Toronto International Film Festival, but also announced the award recipients. TIFF announces Amy Adams and David Cronenberg as first TIFF Tribute Award recipients, and Sandra Oh as an honorary chair for the annual event. So, this is the 6th annual TIFF Tribute Award fundraising gala to take place Sunday, September 8th. So everybody here, let's take a look at this. Why is this? Why is this a big deal? Okay, well, let's see here. In the past 5 years, TIFF has been honoring such standout talent as Joaquin Phoenix, Michelle Yeoh, Jessica Chastain, Chloe Zhao, Taika Waititi, and Ari Wegner. Okay? Why is that a big deal? I'm going to tell you why I think that's a big deal and why this is a precursor to the Academy Awards. Because if you take a look at this, I got this from Wikipedia. And coming from Wikipedia, here's the past Tribute Award winners. For the acting, Joaquin Phoenix, okay? Anthony Hopkins, Jessica Chastain, coming down here to Brendan Fraser. This year, it's Coleman Domingo. Why is that a big deal? Well, Sing Sing was supposed to be a big film, and then the strikes hit. It was supposed to be a big Oscar player, and it just screened. It just had its award consideration, and it didn't get any theater love until just July. It came out on July 12th, and it was a limited run. I think this is a big deal because look at this. Okay? Let's take a very quick look at this and see why this could be a precursor. Joaquin Phoenix for his work in Joker. He won the Academy Award. Anthony Hopkins for his work in The Father. He won the Academy Award. Jessica Chastain for her work in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. She won the Academy Award. Brendan Fraser for his work in The Whale. He won the Academy Award. Michelle Yeoh shares her Journey Groundbreaker Award. She won the Academy Award. 2023, Coleman Domingo. He could potentially win the Academy Award for Sing Sing. He could potentially win the Academy Award for Sing Sing. He was nominated last year for Rustin. Very good film. This year, Amy Adams. Amy freaking Adams. This is a big deal. This is a massive, massive deal. Let's take a look at her past Academy Award nominations because she's had multiple. So let me just pull these up. Her Academy Award nominations. Okay, let me just pull this up here. The Academy Awards, she's had 6 nominations. 6 nominations. That's insane. That's insane. So her Academy Award nominations come from 5 Best Supporting Actress nominations and 1 for Best Actress. And I think one of those she would have won for. She should have won for it. So let's take a look at this. This also comes from Wikipedia. Coming from Wikipedia, her nominations are from 2006, from 2006, Junebug, 2009, Doubt, 2011, The Fighter, 2013, The Master, 2014, American Hustle, and 2019 in Vice. A lot of people think she should have gotten an Academy Award for Nocturnal Animals. She wasn't in it a whole lot to me. She was phenomenal. I think she should have won for American Hustle. I really think she should have won for American Hustle. But that year was a very competitive year. It was a very competitive year in the year of the Oscars. Because those winners, that winner, let's not even go into this, right? Cate Blanchett for Blue Jasmine. Amy Adams. Oh, it is not up. I forgot to pull that up. I'm sorry. I forgot to pull that up. That's my mistake. I'm sorry. Here we go. Cate Blanchett for Blue Jasmine. Amy Adams for American Hustle. Sandra Bullock in Gravity. Judi Dench in Philomena. And Meryl Streep in August Osage County. That's awesome. That's awesome. And this was a great year for movies, guys. This was a great year for movies. American Hustle, The Wolf of Wall Street, which Leonardo DiCaprio should have won the Academy Award for. 12 Years a Slave. I never finished 12 Years a Slave because it was just too uncomfortable for me, and I need to rewatch it. August Osage County. Just a great lineup of films. A great lineup of films. With Frozen taking both the animated feature and the best original song. So there. Oh, and her phenomenal movie. Phenomenal movie. I don't care what anybody says. Phenomenal movie. So there's that. Is Amy Adams going to win this? Is she going to take the Oscar for Best Actress for her new film called Night Bitch? We will see. We will see. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that Amy Adams has a good chance to win for her new film, Night Bitch? And do you think that the TIFF Tribute Award is a good precursor now that you've seen how everything goes with all the past winners? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So next up, we only have a few more topics, and we're going to go into this one. Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers. So, the Russo brothers and Robert Downey Jr. are getting big paydays for their Marvel return for Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Let's take a look at this. This was massive news over the weekend at Comic-Con. I kind of said this at in my last show with Gavin and Cam that Robert Downey Jr. was being looked at for it. It was pretty much confirmed by that point. Behind Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers, mega Avengers paydays. So let's take a look at this. This is insane. Okay? Bringing back key members of the old gang won't come cheap. Sources say Marvel is plunking down $80 million for Anthony and Joe Russo to direct Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, and significantly more for Robert Downey Jr. to tackle uber villain Dr. Doom in the two tentpoles. The Russo's deal doesn't include back-end compensation, but it does contain performance escalators that kick in at $750 million and $1 billion thresholds. Robert Downey Jr.'s does come with a lot of perks as well. Going to include a private, and I lost it. Let's do that one more time. Let's put that right back up there. I like when it does that. It's okay. It's okay. There we go. It comes with private jet travel, dedicated security, and a whole trailer encampment for the newly minted Oscar winner. Downey took home this year's Best Supporting Actor honors for his role in Oppenheimer. So I read somewhere that their paydays were going to be the cumulative sum of $200 million. So if Anthony and Joe Russo are getting $80 million, that means that Robert Downey Jr. is getting somewhere in the neighborhood of $120 million to come back for the Avengers movies. That's not including his payday for making a potential appearance in Fantastic Four, making a potential appearance in any other Marvel film coming out before Avengers Doomsday, before Avengers Secret Wars. He can show up anywhere. Even in a post-credit scene, you got to get a paycheck for it. I think that's dumb to do $120 million. I mean, yes, he's the best actor in the world right now, according to the Academy. He's one of the best actors in the world, bar none. Bar none anyways. I don't care what anybody says. If you haven't seen him in The Judge is a performance that he should have gotten nominated and potentially a win for. I love him in The Judge. Phenomenal movie. Did not get the love. we're not going to talk about his other stuff because the MCU is kind of what brought him back to form, and then he had to prove himself after getting out of the Tony Stark level of stardom and only being known as a big blockbuster. So that's why he went into these Oscar baity films with great filmmakers and great screenplays and Oscar-worthy stories. So he went into The Judge. He got with Christopher Nolan, and he said he couldn't do it without Christopher Nolan. He won for Oppenheimer. Great performance. One of the best performances of last year, if not maybe the best performance of last year besides Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon. I thought she gave the best performance of the entire year to me, but I think it's a little dumb to give him $120 million to come back. It's around $200 million as a cumulative sum, but that's just me. That's just me. $80 million now for both movies, sure. $40 million. So it's probably the Russos are getting $20 million a piece, and Robert Downey Jr. is getting $60 million per film. Okay, fine. For Avengers Endgame, it was reported that he was getting $40 million. I think $40 million for it. It was either for Infinity War and Endgame or for just Endgame. Either way, what do you think of that? Down below, do you think that it's smart to give them $200 million to those three men to potentially bring back the MCU to its form? We'll see what happens with Thunderbolts. We'll see what happens with Fantastic Four, and we'll have to see what happens with the Avengers movies. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and let me know your thoughts. So, this is going to be a brand new segment that I am going to be doing on my channel, and we are going to look at the comments one more time because this is going to make it woke. Joe says he's going to make it woke. So, here we go. This is going to be a brand new segment on my channel and on my show called Released Rewind. So what is this going to be? This is going to be me looking at what's come out this past weekend 10, 20, 30, and 40 years ago. Because a lot of movies don't go back 50, 60 years because back then they didn't release a new movie every week. That was a wide release. So let's take a look at this. What came out 10 years ago this weekend? Well, on August 1st, 2014, it was Guardians of the Galaxy, released 10 years ago. I remember going to theaters and seeing this with my best friend, and it was a phenomenal film. Love this movie. Love these characters. I haven't seen it in a while. I need to rewatch it. One of my favorite MCU trilogies, if not the best MCU trilogy outside of the Spider-Man films. But after that, also on that day, we also got... this is a film I haven't seen. Get On Up with Chadwick Boseman. So that also released along with A Most Wanted Man. I have not seen either of those two films, but it is really nice to know that it has been 10 years since those have came out. But we got to take a look back at 20 years ago in 2004. So in 2004, these films came out. And we're going to start off with The Village. I have not seen The Village. I will be watching The Village this upcoming month, along with Signs and the Sixth Sense. We also have one up here. Did I not put it on here? If I didn't put it on here, that's okay. It was The Manchurian Candidate. The Manchurian Candidate came out the same day, along with this film that I do really enjoy a lot. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. That came out 10 years ago this weekend. We're going to go back to 1994. So, in 1994, it was actually 1 year ago yesterday that one of the best comedies of all time was released in theaters. One of my favorite films of all time, one of my main comfort films, The Mask. The Mask was released on June 29th, 1994. I might actually rewatch this after I'm done with this stream and my Deadpool and Wolverine Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler discussion. After that same weekend, It Could Happen to You, along with Black Beauty. Those films came out in 1994, and we will also go back and take a look at the last ones, which is going to be 1984. So 1984, we only had a couple films release. And one of them was a re-release. And that re-release in theaters was the original 1967 Walt Disney's The Jungle Book. That released for a 1984 re-release. I love that movie. Great film. But also, the big movie that weekend was Meatballs Part 2, and along with Purple Rain. So Purple Rain is now 40 years old. Have not seen that film. I know. I have not seen Purple Rain. I have not seen Meatballs 2. But I thought that'd be a fun new topic to bring on. I love doing that. That's a ton of fun. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you surprised with any of those? And does it make you feel old if you're old enough to remember all the way back to 40 years ago, to 1984, to 1994? I was not. I was born in 1998, so I was not around then. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below and let me know your thoughts. We're going to go in the comments one more time before we go into the final stretch of the box office Netflix top 10 and what's releasing this week in theaters and on streaming. Guardians of the Galaxy. Great movie. It's a great movie. Love the movie. Love the mask. Yes. The Crow also came out in 1994. Yes, it did. I haven't seen it, but I'm not sure when it came out. I'm not 100% sure when the movie came out. But we're going to go into our big stretch of this. Box office results. Let's go into the quick box office numbers for this weekend. We already know that Deadpool and Wolverine did big money at the box office. And by big box office, I mean it made a crap ton of money. So let's take a look at the box office results. And one thing that nobody is talking about, that literally nobody is talking about, is that Twisters did a 57% drop and gained 19 theaters. So Deadpool and Wolverine ended up making $211.4 million at the worldwide box office, taking Twisters down to number 2 at 34.9 million. Despicable Me 4 at 14.5 million. Inside Out 2 at 8.6 million. And Longlegs drops another 43% at 6.7 million. So Inside Out 2 is officially the second biggest animated movie of all time, but it's also overtaken but it's also overtaken multiple other films. We will talk about this once I do another another show this week. I don't want to harp on that too much, but Despicable Me 4, they're not slouching either, man. They are closing in on $650 million. So there is the box office results. Now we're going to go into the fun topic that I love doing every single week, and that is going to be the Netflix top 10. So what movies and TV shows are in the Netflix top 10? So let's go into that. Netflix top 10 looks something like this. It's going to be interesting to see if the two movies that have been in there for all this time are actually still in there. So at number 1, Trolls Band Together. Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. Number 3, Land of Bad. Number 4, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I actually watched that and I didn't care for it all that much. It wasn't my cup of tea. Finally, falling at number 4. Number 6 is Non-Negotiable, a brand new foreign Netflix film. Number 7, Minions. Still hanging in there is the Super Mario Brothers movie and Shrek, but Shrek is leaving. Shrek is leaving Netflix, I believe, on Thursday. I believe it's leaving Netflix on Thursday, so you only got 2 more days to watch Shrek on Netflix. And a film that I really enjoy is Wicked Little Letters, a very foul-mouthed British comedy that is a drama mixed with some comedy there. We will also take a look at the Netflix top 10 TV shows. Number 1 is Dirty Pop, the boy band scam. Number 2 is Cobra Kai. Number 3 is All American. Number 4 is Simone Biles Rising. Number 5 is Too Hot to Handle. Number 5, number 6 is the Decameron. Homicide Los Angeles at number 7. What was that? Is that Resurrected Rides at number 8, Masters of the House at number 9, and Vikings Valhalla at number 10. So there's your Netflix top 10. And finally, we're going to get into what's coming out this week in theaters and on streaming. This is a bit of a somewhat lighter week for movies. I would say a somewhat lighter week for me. So I'm looking forward to this. Let's go to releases.com, and then we will wrap up the show. And you guys can join me for Noah Kaser, for my Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler discussion. So this week in theaters, we have Trap coming to theaters. Well, we're going to do that one more time because it wanted to crash on me. We have Trap coming to theaters along with Harold and the Purple Crayon, which I will be seeing on Friday. I will have my review of Dr. Jekyll on Friday as well as my review of the brand new SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Sandy Cheeks, Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood, and Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness. The director's cuts are going to be on Netflix. We will also be having The Duel in cinemas. I believe that's only in theaters for a couple days. And then that is going to be it. So that's everything for the show, everybody. Stay tuned because I got a lot more coming to you, more reviews. And we also do have a review for the brand new Hallmark film called Junebug this week, which is going to be airing this Saturday. And that's it for the show, everybody. So let me know what you thought in the comments down below. But before we go, I do want to see who is in the comments, and I need to get to my next stream. So that's it, everybody. What's up, Michael? I will see you in the stream in just a minute, sir. Sav says, I was born in 1967 and 1976. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. And Sav says, I saw The Crow in cinemas in 1994. Wish I was alive then so that I could see some of the greatest films ever made. The Lion King, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, Forrest Gump, multiple other films. But that's it, everybody. Stay tuned because I have a lot more coming to you next week. Let me know what you thought of the show down below, and I hope you'll join me for my Deadpool and Wolverine my Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler discussion because I got a lot of guests coming, and I will see all of you guys next time. So where did you go when the fire is low?